library. In today's Tuesday Crafternoon, I'd like to show you how to make a hand-stitched floral bookmark. Now this is going to be our April Take and Make kit. I don't remember what the date is to start pickups, but it's usually around the middle of the month. And what this is going to include is the cardstock. These are about 2 inches wide by 6 inches long. This one's a little bit longer. You'll get the pattern, the instructions. You will also get the floss to do this. And today I'm going to make one with green, yellow, and some purple for the flowers. You will also need an awl to punch out the holes for the pattern. Probably a piece of scrap paper or scrap cardboard to slide under the cardstock for when you punch the holes out. You'll need needle, scissors, and tape because, as always, we do not make a knot in the ends of the floss. We'll just tape those ends down. You'll see here, I haven't finished the back on this one, but on this one, I've just covered it with a piece of decorative paper. You can do plain paper. You could do another piece of cardstock if you want. That's going to be up to you. But what I'm going to do today is show you how to do the basic stitches and how to get it all set up. So, if you're ready, let's get started. As you can see, I've already got the holes punched out for my new bookmark. And what I'd like to do is start just with the center of the flowers because I figure it's always easiest to do the inner pieces first and then stitch around them. So for the inner parts of the flowers, we're basically just using these 8 holes in the middle and doing a half and half stitch. So starting at the top, going to the bottom, moving over 1 hole, crossing over, moving 1 hole, crossing over, and moving 1 hole, crossing over. So you've got like an 8-point star in the middle. So I'm going to flip my cardstock over and go ahead and insert the needle from the bottom, pull it through, and tape down that little tail. And then I'm just going across. Moving 1 hole over, across to the next hole from the top. Go up the next hole and cross over. And then go to the next hole and come up and cross over here. So that's all there is to that. And you've only got 2 of these on your bookmark. So I'm going to go ahead and tape that down. And I'll put that needle away for now, because now I want to work on the flower. Now, the flower and these leaf swirls are both going to be the reach stitch. And in both cases, they're a reach 5. So when I find my starting point, what I'll do is come up, reach forward 5 holes, and put my needle down, and then come up the next hole and reach back 5 holes so that we get this back and forth overlapping of the stitches to create these really nice curves. Now, the starting point is going to be, if we're doing the left side first, is going to be this middle hole on the center of the flower. So remember, these were 8 points. Think of this one at 9 o'clock. So I'll flip over to the back and come up that 9 o'clock hole. And tape down that end. Now the flower petals are going to be a little tricky. You just have to pay attention to your holes though. What we're doing is coming up and around this first petal, and then we're going to be overlapping on a few holes to do the next one, overlapping again to do the third. And then we'll go to the other side and it's the same thing, only working from bottom to top. So I've come up this 9 o'clock hole, and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes here, and go down, move ahead 1 hole, and come back 5 holes, which brings us to the hole just before or just after where I started. And then I'll come up the next hole. And again, reach forward 5, which moves us ahead a hole. And you just keep doing this back and forth until it's all filled in. Okay, so that finishes that first petal. Now I want to go out and do this petal, but as you saw, I came down this first hole. I can't come right back up that same hole or I'm going to lose the last stitch. So it helps to flip your card over at this point so you can see where the holes are and count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So I want to come up this hole and then stitch back down to this hole. And then we're going to keep doing the reach 5. Now, it's going to get a little tricky here because you've already used these holes and they're kind of covered up. That's why you really want to pay attention here on the back to where that would be your next stitch. So this is going to be the next one. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Now I will say it took me a long time to figure this out. So if you mess up, no big deal. You'll figure it out. 4, 5. All right, so that takes care of that overlap, and then we can keep going the rest of the way around this petal. So that's how these petals are done. Like I said, it helps to do 3 on one side and then the next 3. And then you're going to repeat the same thing down here with the other flower. So I'm going to stop here for now. I'll finish up a little bit here and then I'll come back when I'm ready to do the leaves. Now I've finished the first half of this flower, and I will say I did actually make a mistake as I was coming back up through here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I think that just goes to show that you can make a mistake and it's still going to look good. So don't worry too much about it. What I'm going to do next is start on the leaf swirls. I'm going to start with this top one. This middle pair is basically going to be the same thing. You just have 2 that are overlapping, but you just do one of them at a time and it's going to work out. So I'm going to come up at one end and I'll tape down the tail here. Now the leaf swirls are going to be a reach stitch again, and again it's reach 5. We're going to keep it pretty simple for this bookmark. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and down. Oops. There we go. Up the next one. And back 5. You know how this goes, back and forth and back and forth. Like with the flowers, there is a little bit of a tricky part, and that is going to be as the curve overlaps itself, working its way around. So we're coming up to one of those intersection points, and you just keep going, follow that curve. There's not really anything to worry about on this first pass. It's more when we come back around. This is one where, because that curve overlaps itself a couple of times, you'll definitely want to follow along with the picture of the finished bookmark so you can see where your stitching has to go looping its way around, instead of just, follow the outer part of the curve and then you miss these 2 loops in the middle. Whoops. That hole is big enough that the needle just wants to slip out this first time around. Now this is probably something I'm not sure we've encountered before on previous card kits, where we're doing a reach on a pointed curve like this. just treat it the same way. You're just going around that point the same way you would a curve. And let me show you how that's going to turn out. You know, at some point it looks like you're doing just straight lines across. But what it does is it keeps that point on the outside, but you get a nice curve on the inside. If you see what I mean, you've still got the point here, but on the inside, it's a curve. It's kind of a cool effect. And like I said, it's the same reach stitch that we did here. It just depends on how your holes are laid out that determines how the finished curve actually looks. All right, now here we're coming back to cross over the first curve. You just keep going with the holes. And this line is then going to overlap the first part of the curve. And that gives it a little more of a little bit of a 3D effect. Not a real pop out kind of thing, but having the layers like this are really kind of cool. So I'm getting close to the end of my thread here, and I'll just stop for now because that reach stitch is just going to take us all the way around here, and you repeat it for each of these other leaf swirls on your bookmark. That's really all there is to it. Like I said, this is going to be our April Take and Make kit sometime in mid-April. There is no registration for it. It's first come, first serve, one per family. And hopefully that will add a little pop of color and delight for your spring reading or to share with a friend. As always, I hope you will get a chance to try this. If you don't pick up one of the kits, at least you can find the patterns and instructions in a notebook here at the reference desk. And meanwhile, get creative, stay kind, be healthy. Bye-bye.